You know that feeling when you scroll through a dozen dust collector listings, each one promising a clean workshop in seconds, only to end up with a unit that barely pulls the fine sawdust off the floor? I've been there, and the disappointment is real, especially when you've already cleared a space, wired a dedicated outlet, and set aside budget that now feels wasted. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this video I'm going to walk through why the flux, Laguna 1.5hp 110v Cyclone dust collector might actually be the one that saves you that headache, and I'll also point out the exact situations where it could leave you still reaching for a shop vacuum. First, let's talk about the kind of setup most hobbyists have in a garage or a modest woodworking corner. You're probably working with a table saw, a router table, maybe a small belt sander, and you need a way to keep the air clear without turning the whole room into a dust cloud. The biggest mistake people make is grabbing a cheap, low CFM unit because it fits under a workbench, only to find that after a few minutes of sanding the motor overheats or the airflow drops so much you're still breathing in fine particles. The opposite error is ordering a massive industrial collector that needs a 3-phase line and a concrete slab, then realizing it will never fit in your space. The Laguna Cyclone sits somewhere in the middle, and that sweet spot is worth dissecting. What you get straight out of the box is a 25-gallon Octagon drum, a 1.5 horsepower motor, and a claim of 900 CFM of airflow. Those numbers sound impressive, but the real test is how they behave when you hook the collector up to a typical 10-inch dust port on a table saw. In my own test rig, the motor ramps up quickly on a standard 110v circuit, no need for a special dedicated line, which is a relief for anyone renting a space or without a full workshop wiring plan. The 900 CFM rating is enough to create a noticeable pressure drop across the dust port, meaning most of the wood shavings and fine sawdust get pulled straight into the drum instead of lingering around the saw's blade. The Octagon drum is where the value beyond the headline specs really shows up. Compared to a round bag that can sag and allow dust to escape, the octagonal shape gives you more usable volume without adding a lot of extra height. In practice, I could run a continuous sanding job for about 30 minutes before the drum was full enough to need a quick dump. That's a solid improvement over a 15-gallon bag that would have needed emptying every 10 minutes, breaking your workflow. Because the drum is a solid container rather than a disposable bag, you also avoid the recurring cost of replacement bags, something that adds up over months of regular use. Now, let's be honest about the trade-offs. The motor is only 1.5 horsepower, which is perfect for most small to medium woodworking tasks, but if you regularly run a large router table or a heavy spindle sander, you might start to notice a slight dip in suction when the motor is near its limit. The unit isn't designed for high-volume metal grinding where you'd want a full 2000 CFM system. The airflow will still be there, but the fine metal filings can clog the Cyclone faster than wood dust, meaning you'll need to clean the drum more frequently. Also, because the unit is built for a 110V supply, you won't be able to plug it into a standard 120V outlet without checking the amperage. Most household circuits can handle it, but a cramped panel might trip if you're already running a table saw and a compressor. One practical strength that often gets missed in spec sheets is the freight delivery option. For a 25-gallon drum plus motor and housing, you're looking at a package that's roughly the size of a small refrigerator. The fact that Laguna offers freight delivery means you won't have to wrestle the unit up a narrow stairwell or rent a truck. The box arrives with a set of basic instructions, a quick connect hose adapter, and a sturdy handle that makes moving the collector from the shop floor to the garage door a manageable two-person job. That convenience factor can save you a weekend of frustration that many reviewers overlook. If you're the type of woodworker who does a lot of finish sanding, cabinet making, or occasional CNC work, the Laguna Cyclone hits the sweet spot. You'll get enough airflow to keep fine dust from settling on your workpieces. The drum capacity will let you finish a day's worth of work without constant stops, and the 110V plug keeps installation painless. On the other hand, if you run a full-time professional shop with multiple stations pulling simultaneously, or if you need a bagless system for compliance reasons, you'll probably want to look at larger, variable speed units that can handle 2000 CFM or more. A real-world scenario that illustrates the difference: Imagine you're building a set of kitchen cabinets, sanding each panel 4